Yeah, and I kind of messed up when I was demonstrating first hour. So I'm going to get them a good recording without me messing things up. So let's go ahead and open OnShape. Sign in. Go ahead to your intermediate modeling folder. Yeah. So head to your intermediate modeling folder. And we're going to create a new folder for this because we're getting a little excessive with the number of files in our document. Let's create a folder and let's call this sweep. Because there's actually going to be 5 parts in our sweep document. We're going to do 3 together, then you're going to do 2 free choice, just kind of sweep, playing around with it, see if you can come up with something cool. Maybe the coolest thing that somebody comes up with gets a cookie or candy, or Michael will give him a back rub or something, I don't know. Cookie. All right, so create a folder, call it sweep. And in sweep folder, let's create a new part studio. And we're going to call this, it's paperclip, so I'm going to call mine Clippy. If you ever played with Word or Office or any of the old Microsoft Office programs, you might remember Clippy. It was a little paper clip that popped up, and it was kind of annoying and kept on trying to help you, but he was never helpful. I don't know, does anybody remember Clippy?
I do.
A couple of you have seen Clippy? Okay. All right. So people online, when you have your folder created and your document and you're ready to go, type ready into the chat. And that lets me know that you're ready.
Is there any other like is that like 8%?
Do you have your charger with you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can just you can plug in right here. Yeah, one down there too. So type ready in the chat when you have your file created, you're all ready to go. All right, looks like most of you are ready. All right, so to start this, I'm just going to give you guys a few minutes to sketch. I'm going to leave this up. These are the dimensions for what we're going to do. So we're going to create a paperclip, and we're going to start by sketching. Now, let me demonstrate this first, then I'll let you guys kind of just get going. All right, so the first super important thing that you want to do, it doesn't really matter which plane you pick. So I'm just going to sketch on the front plane. But we want to start by sketching from the origin. That's going to be important. Yeah.
But it's still showing the slide too.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. So it doesn't matter what plane you sketch on, but start by sketching from the origin. That's important. All right. So our first dimension, I'm just going to be kind of flipping back and forth. We're going to get a line, and we're going to go up 1.5 inches. So this is going to be a dimensionally accurate paperclip. We'll go up. Now, on the directions here, it shows this is in radius, but I'm going to use a circle. So the circle is drawn with the diameter. So what do I have to do to the radius here? Double it. All right, so I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to come over 0.5, and then I'm going to come down 1.75. And then again with my arc, I have to double it. So it says 0.187. I don't want to do math, so I'm just going to say 0.187 times 2. So you can do that in OnShape, and it'll do all the math for you. I'm going to come up 1.375. And then come over. Let's see, it says 0.125, so that's just going to be 0.25. And then I'm going to come down 1. Now, I didn't draw any of the arcs here, and here's why. Because I want to make this easy because I'm feeling like I kind of want to be a little bit lazy. So if you look at my sketch here, all I did was just drew this with lines. Now, here's the magic part. I'm still in the same sketch. I'm just going to take my circle tool, and I'm just going to draw these circles in. And then from there, all I have to do is snip, 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 and snip. And there's my sketch. Make sure you use the origin for the front. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this here, and I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to sketch the profile, and then we'll talk about what you can do to actually make this 3D.
Wait, so we put circles on it instead?
Yeah, the way I did it was I actually started with squares, so I came up and I doubled that radius, right, because it gives you the radius, so you need to double it to get that diameter. So I drew it like this, and then I just drew my circles. And then this one, using that midpoint, and then I just trimmed off the bottom of the circles, and that's how I got it.
Okay, so we're doing 3 circles then? Just 3 circles?
Yes, just 3 circles, because there's 3 radius, and remember you have to double that radius, because the radius is only half.
What was the radius for them again? 20?
If you look at the presentation, I have the dimensions right there. So for the circles, you just double that. Yeah, so that one would be 0.125 times 2. Oh. So when you have time, this is my challenge. This is a project I'm working on for engineering 2 people to start off with. So I've got all of this top stuff designed. The purpose for the idea is it's going to be a farm with you. It's going to have a base that you can sit on. I can spin this way. I haven't had the chance to design it, so if you're up for it, design that. If you want to give it a go, it's up to you. Or you can just turn up, grab some nuts and bolts.
Alright. Oh.
Wait, so how long is this line?
Go to my screen. So that's going to be 0.187 times 2.
Okay.
It's 4? Does this look right at all? Because it,
Yeah, it looks about right. Did you use the dimensions that are on my screen?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That looks about right.
We just have to double it, right?
Yep. So for those, the radius there, you're going to start with just a line, and then you're going to double that because it shows you the radius, but you need the diameter.
What's your port?
Yeah.
I guess the tangent arc instead. They kind of messed up on the circles.
Yeah, that's fine. You can use a tangent arc. That's essentially the same. Then you would actually use the radius because arcs are not the radius. Right, online people, when you have the sketch drawn, the profile, or everybody, tell me ready in the chat. That lets me know that you're ready for the secret sauce of this paperclip, which is the sweep command. Ah. I guess I should have had them say something other than ready. It's the same thing as last time. And I am recording this. I'll post it after class. So if you had struggles or couldn't get it by the end of the hour, I will post this video to Canvas so you can kind of watch what I did.
Was there?
Check that. They were soon. Oh, yeah. right, show me thumbs up if you got it in here. Couple of you still waiting on a few. Ready. All right, just one more minute. All right, I think we're good. Let me go and show my screen. All right, so here we have our paperclip, right? And we have our full sketch. And if we look, that origin is sitting right on this other plane right there, which is perfect because our next sketch is going to have to be here right at that origin point. So that's why I chose this, because what I'm going to do is go ahead and sketch on this plane. And let me show you what I'm going to do. So keep looking here. So let's see, my paper clip, I made 0.05 inches. So I'm going to get a circle, make it 0.05. You can make yours bigger or smaller if you want. 0.05. But what this does is creates a circle right like that. And you can kind of see what's going to happen here. So let me do that again. I'm going to delete this sketch. So I want to create a sketch on the plane that is perpendicular to my paperclip. Okay, so get sketch right there. And then we want to lock onto this origin because we want this to be attached to the same point that's at the base of the paperclip. That's it right there. So you can kind of see, probably like I said, where this is going. So create a sketch on that perpendicular plane, make a circle, mine was 0.05, and then we'll rate. Matt?
I was just wondering what size you put here.
Yeah, 0.05 inches. Yeah, and that's why I had you do it on the origin, just so it could snap that point. All right, show me thumbs up when you got your circle. And again, I am going to put this in the Canvas page, so if you miss it. All right, now here's the magic. So here's the sweep command. Let me show you what this does. Sweep command needs two things. It needs a face and a path. Well, here's a face. So a face in any computer drawing program means it's a bounded area. Could be a polygon, could be a circle, could be anything, but it has edges that surround an area that has surface area, right? A flat area that has some kind of bounding geometry. A path is just a line or a curve that it can follow. So these are our paths, right? And they actually have no volume or surface area. If I zoomed in, we would see these are infinitesimally thin, right? They have no volume, they have no surface area. It's just showing that line where it goes. So here's how we use sweep. I'm going to grab the sweep command, and it starts by asking for a face. So I want to use this circle face. Then it asks for a path. So I'm going to click on path, and now I'm just going to follow this path around. And I'm just going to click on each part of my path, and there's my paperclip. I call it clippy. So let me do that again. If you know what you're doing, go ahead and do it. But if you need to watch again, we got sweep. Click on our circle. That's our face. And we've got a sweep path. And we just pull this along. So it's pulling that face along the path that I drew. So that's sweep. It's like an extrude. It's a form of extrude, except you can give it a path to follow, which is a powerful thing because it does not need to be a straight line. All right, let's see how you're doing. Got it? Hey, there's a clippy. There's a clippy. Gerard's got a clippy. Peter has a clippy. Peter has a clippy. Julio has a clippy. Uh-oh. All right, let's see. We have our circle. Put on the faces sketch. You want to. Okay, we have the face. Okay, then put on the sweep path. And click on the top there. Let's see. Yep, there it is. Okay. Oh, you know what? Your lines might not be touching. Your sketch may turn those lines. Because if they're separated even by a small gap. You get it, Jackson?
No, I got confused in the beginning, so I'm working up to it. I got it.
As soon as I do it this way.
Because it means that it probably isn't connected. I want to double check the sketch, maybe redraw that, because it looks like it didn't actually connect. Yeah.
Can I go to the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the project you guys did?
Sorry, I keep it going.
What? Oh. Take it apart. Oh, yeah, the block splitter. Right, online people. So Lincoln, Evie, Kobe, Aiden, if you finish the paperclip, say done. One thing that I saw some people having issues with is if you were kind of sweeping and pulling out the face, and then you clicked on a certain segment and it wouldn't go there and it stops. That means that those lines probably aren't touching. Like there's a little gap or something, like you didn't quite have them connected. So just a couple more minutes to work on this. Then we'll move to the spring, which is actually easier. And then the pipe, which is the easiest. So we start with a hard one, and we'll get easier and easier. Then probably the last half hour I'll give you guys to, if you want to 3D print your toy projects. So if you're all done, feel free to go ahead and export everything. Emilio, you're giving a confused look back there. What do we got? Working on it? You see where there's a zoom in, is there a gap? Oh. So it looks like there might be a tiny little segment. So. Oh, you can trim that, I guess. So it only has one half photo. Okay, guys?
Yeah, I just need.
Gonna retry it?
Yeah.
You can use the 3-point arc and make it a tangent arc as well.
Okay.
Machu Picchu, when'd you go there?
2 summers ago, 2019.
Nice. How was it?
Busy.
Busy?
Really busy. We had to wait 2 hours for the line to go up, and then 2 hours for like the bus to take us back down.
Ooh.
Because they just kind of have like a bunch of people driving buses up there and down. So
Mhm.
you just kind of hop on one when it's open.
And once you get up there, it's super busy, or do they try to limit the number of people up at the top?
I think they try to limit the amount of people at the top, so it's not like super busy. Like you can still like see everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, it was. I think my parents said that they went. It's my mom's from Peru originally, so
Oh, cool.
my parents said that they went 2005. Like before it was like that big,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. It wasn't like too bad, but it was.
Not too bad.
Yes.
I'd always I'd like to go to Chile or Argentina. I think I want to go see those places. I guess in Chile they have this riverboat cruise that just floats down, like I guess their main river for miles and miles and miles. It's like that would be so relaxing. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. I know some of you guys are still working. You can always come back to it, but looks like about half of us are done. So I want to show you guys how to do the spring. And once we finish that and we're done with the others, you guys can have some time to kind of work on the rest. So if you guys go ahead and check my screen, the next one we're going to do is a spring. So this is actually something that's very commonly used and modeled. And what is the purpose of a spring? Does anybody know the engineering purpose of a spring? Boingy, good. So yes, it goes boingy. What's the like engineering physics way of describing what a spring does? Michael, what does a spring do?
Something with elastic energy.
Good, it stores energy, right? So you compress it and it stores energy, or you pull it and it stores energy, right? It just stores that energy so you can use it to go boingy, whether that's tension or compression, but it stores that energy. Now, this one's going to be pretty easy to do. And to start, let's go ahead and create a new part studio. And I'm going to call this Springy. Actually, you know what? That's kind of lame. Let's do Springbird. I'll call this not Springbird, Springbird. We got Springbird. And the start of this is going to be super simple. So I probably don't even need to have you guys watch me, but it's probably a good idea. So to start off, I'm just going to draw a 1/2 inch circle. So we'll just do a circle that's 0.5. And then I'm going to extrude that 1 inch. So we just get a cylinder, just like so. So draw a 1/2 inch circle, extrude it 1 inch.
Doesn't matter what plane you sketch it on.
Nope, not so much this one, because we're going to use one of the work planes to sketch. So any of the three is fine for this one.
How big do I make the cylinder?
1/2 inch diameter, 1 inch extrude. Bueno? C'est bon? Très bon. Now I said like a couple words in French to the French teacher, and I used like all 4 words of French that I knew, but she must have thought I spoke French, so she just started like blah, 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 blah. And it's like blew me out of the water. I kind of had to say, oh, I already exhausted the 5 words of French that I know. All right, next bit we're going to do. So we got our cylinder. We got to use a new feature today, and that is a helix. Helix is the technical term for a spring type shape. So we're going to click on the helix and then just click on our cylinder, and we can see the helix here. Okay. Now we can change a few things about it. We can change the direction. We can change the number of revolutions. And we can change the start. So I can make this like 20, and we can already see this is kind of like a bolt or a screw right there. And this is actually how you would model a bolt or screw. We're just going to leave it 4 revolutions and 0 and hit OK. So we're just going to leave all the defaults, 4 and 0, and draw a helix. Wow, it's a helix. Everybody know what a torus is? The geometric shape of a torus?
Oh.
Donut. It's a donut shape. All right, show me thumbs up when you have your helix. Emilio, Peter? Good. All right. Now, we don't need actually this cylinder anymore, so let's hide part 1. So any of these parts over on the project tree, if you hover over them, you'll see a lot of them have a little eyeball. That will let you hide it if you don't need it. So we're going to hide the cylinder because we don't need it anymore. What do I call it?
What?
Oop. Never mind. All right, so we hit it, and now we just got our spring. But the problem is, our spring is just a path, right? It actually has no surface area, volume, or anything. This is just a path. If you tried to 3D print it, there would be nothing to 3D print because it's infinitesimally small. So what we need to do is sweep. right? The problem is that we might not have a path right on there. And anyway, it's also kind of at an angle right there. So what we need to do is create a plane to sketch on, because the spring is kind of done at an angle, but our default path is right here. So we need a path that is normal or perpendicular to the edge of the spring. Here's how we do that. This part's a little complex, so watch carefully. So this is our plane menu, so we can actually create planes to work on. Okay, so here's our plane menu, and what we're going to do is, instead of offset, I want you to switch to curve plane. So instead of offset, switch to curve plane. Yeah? Or as the Marines would say, hua. Right? And then after we choose curve point, we're just going to click on our helix and then click on the very end point of the helix. And what you'll see is that'll add a plane that's normal or perpendicular to the edge of that line right there. So let me do that again. If you missed it, now's a good time to look. So choose plane. Which one do we want?
Curve point.
Curve point. We're going to click on our helix and then click on the very end point, and that will give us our plane. So these work planes, this function right here lets us draw planes to do a whole lot of different stuff. Okay, this one created a point right there. So we could actually, if you had had your paperclip drawn and you didn't start on the origin, you could have created a point on the edge by doing just this right here. So like if you had created your paperclip way off to the side and the origin was right there and you couldn't draw on that, you could have created a plane right there to sketch on. So planes are actually pretty useful. All right, so go ahead and peek my screen. Here's the next part. So what we need to do, again, just like our paperclip, we're going to create another sketch. Oops, not extrude. Sketch, and we want to sketch on that plane we just created. So you might have to orient or orbit around. I'm going to sketch on this plane. And what I'm going to do is sketch right on the edge of my helix. Because I have that plane attached to it, it should show me. So I'm going to sketch a circle, and you can make it as thick as you want. I'm going to make mine about yay thick. The thicker you make that, the thicker your spring will be. So again, let me do that. So we're going to sketch on that plane that I just created, the kind of slanty one. I'm going to sketch a circle right on the end of my helix. And there we're good. So that's where we want to go. And you can probably guess what's going to happen next, right? What are we going to use? Sweep. So let's hit sweep. Click on your circle. Click on sweep path. Click on your helix. And we get a nice spring. That one kind of looks like from Shocks.
How big's the circle on the spring?
Mine that I made was 0.112922. You can just make yours 0.1, or I just dragged mine out.
Okay.
You can make it whatever, but what you need is a circle on the edge of your spring, just like so.
I did a thing.
You did a thingy,
Yeah, that's awesome.
and then we sweep. Make sure you get the sweep path, and then bloop, right there. Like I said, if you're completely lost, or you're at home, like using the bathroom and not listening to what I say, I will post the video on Canvas. But that's how we do our spring. All right, let me check and see how everybody's doing their spring.
Mr. Ford, can you use a spring instead of the extrude like ever, or in place of it?
Well, this is essentially extruding, except we're pulling along a path. So yes, if I had a circle and then a path out of the center, I could use sweep instead of extrude. But I mean, extrude, if you're not taking weird curves or anything, I mean, you might as well just extrude it straight. Sweep is more if you wanted to follow a path. Oh, that's cool. That's a pretty fantastic spring there. I like it. That's cool. You got a spring, you got a spring.
Spring.
Spring is front. Spring. Spring. Spring, spring.
I had to restart my paperclip, so I'm just
Okay.
starting with it.
Good to go, Jackson.
I'm doing good.
You're doing good?
Yep.
This right
I have to answer
That was a while, like 12:30. All of those up.
the C one versus the B one.
As a motor that's mounted on the side of it, it
This is up here. Yeah, it's this actually printed in some parts, so you can get around this trunk here. So that kind of has a.
Right. You guys get your springs?
Yeah.
What's it?
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
Well,
what's
let
it?
me select my.
Third point. So,
I didn't know how to do that.
like this,
I just went the fucking away.
and then on the end point there, not as origin.
Look at me, I'm gonna kill myself.
There you go. And then sketch on that, and it should let you.
Let me select.
I was, yeah. What did you guys build? Oh, yeah. Your guys was really cool. Your guys was really super cool. What if you
Yeah, I got it.
There we go, perfect.
What games do you have on videos?
So if you wanted to CAD up a poo emoji, you could, instead of doing a cylinder, you could start with a cone and pull it around there. Do a spring and coil around there.
Selected everything.
All right, last one. So let's create one more part studio, and we're gonna call this Pipey, or Piper, Pipert, or Pipe, some pipe derivative. Piper the third. No, Piper Ton the third. All right, this is going to be Piper Ton. And by the way, all the directions are in the PowerPoint as well, so I'll post the video, but there's also instructions on the Canvas website in the PDF, so should be tons of resources if you're lost. Of course, if you're here in person, you can always talk to me, or if you're online, we can always, you can present your screen and we can look over it, but I have all the instructions on here. So this is the pipe. So what we're going to start is, again, by just creating a sketch. I'm definitely want to use the origin again on this. Okay, the origin is pretty useful. So I'm going to create a sketch. Now, if you want I don't really care what the diameter is. I'm just going to freehand it. Now, if you want a solid pipe, just create one circle. If you want a hollow pipe, create two. Okay, so we're going to start just with a circle profile like so. Muy fácil, ¿no? Me gusta la discoteca.
What are the dimensions of the circles?
Whatever you want. All right, ready for the next bit? Right, so again, we're going to sketch, but we're going to sketch on the perpendicular plane. Okay, so the one that is bisecting your circle. Bisecting is the fancy word for cutting in half. Okay, so I'm sketching on this plane here. Yup.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use a new tool. I'm going to use the spline. And everybody's pipe is going to be a little different because we're just going to freehand this. So watch what I do, and then I'll let you do it. So I'm going to create a spline. Now, one thing you do not want to do is have a really bendy curve. So if you look at my screen, this is not going to work because that pipe is not going to be able to pull across that path, right? It's going to mess up. So don't do it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going. Let's delete that. I'm just going to delete this point. And then we'll keep going with my spline. So I can, actually, no, it is pretty spliny. And we'll just go back. So get your spline, and I'm just going to spline, and you can make your pipe take whatever kind of direction you want. Just make sure that the curves are not crazy. If you do mess them up, you can always click on them and kind of move them around after. So spline points can be dragged around and reshaped. And from here, once we create our spline, we should be able to sweep our face, choose the path, and there's my pipe. It's like an exhaust pipe or a worm or something. Wormy. Wormy. So that's the pipe. Now, I am going to have you guys do 2 free choice. So do whatever you want, play around with it, see if you can create something cool. But this is your chance to play with it. So you should have 5 total sweeps. The paperclip, the spring, the pipe, and then just 2 free choice. You can do whatever you want, but they have to be with sweep. Yeah?
How do
All
we
right.
end the spline?
Hit escape. Oh, that's an important part. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. When you're creating a spline, you have to hit escape. Escape will finish it. You can't just click off. Okay? Escape will say stop here.
Stop my spline.
Yeah, hit escape. My apologies. I should have started with that. Let me spline something.
Uh-oh, I did a thing and now it's lagging.
All right. So with the last half-hour class, you guys have time to do your 2 free choice. So you should have 5 total sweeps. Like I said, the 3 have, then 2 free choice. So you have time to do free choice sweeps. Also, I would like to get a couple 3D prints going. So if your group has not printed your toy project, now's a good time to print that. Michael, you kind of want to see what I started with the base to get an idea? Yeah, come on over. I kind of started with a concept, but I didn't have time to kind of work with that yet. So if you come over here to my laptop, I mean, well, what I have, this is kind of the CAD model, what I was thinking. And see, this is kind of just a little, let me go to the shoulder. I mean, you could really do anything. This is kind of what I was starting with, just a little shoulder joint like this that has a square, because the motor that sits on that arm, right, it sits on the arm, but the axle goes through there. So as it turns, the motor turns the axle because it's locked into place there. That'll rotate the entire arm. Okay. And what we need is another part for the base. So, I mean, I can kind of share this with you so you can see this and use that. In fact, I can share this whole document with you. But what I was kind of thinking is something with like a ring gear around that, and then a base that has, the motor attached to it with a bevel motor or something, so that can turn it and spin the whole assembly.
Yeah.
So I don't know, if you have time, if you want to. I mean, you're pretty good with this kind of stuff. You're the CAD master, so if you're up to the challenge, if not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, that's that.
What's up?
To like make something hollow, you need to have a hole in the center. So when I'm gonna sweep it,
Now that's a pretty abrupt curve, so the curve might be a little too extreme, but let's give it a try. So sweep. Now just click on the outside one. Yeah, that's your face right there. Click on sweep up. Up. Bend it. Yeah, that's just too sudden there. If you can't see how it's turning red, that's because it's intersecting with itself and bending over itself. All right, the CR10 and the Prusa are both open, so if you want to print your toy assembly, now's a good time. Same thing, Ricky, it looks like your curve is a little too abrupt. So if you have that 90-degree curve, it's kind of sweeping on itself.
Okay.
No, I can export it for you as a. Do we use OnShape? I think we did some people used OnShape when we were online, because that final from March to May we were online. So some people like Chromebooks, I let them use OnShape, but most of the others use Fusion 360. But I can export the model, and you can put it into you use Fusion 360 on there. Okay. I could do it as a parasolid. All right, I'm going to email you the file. It's a SolidWorks file because OnShape can export as file SolidWorks. We'll see if it works. Ippy curvy. So you guys should have 5 total. Any questions online, or are you guys good to go? You can do a lot of really cool stuff with sweeps. Like if you CAD, or if you do a Google search for CAD sweeps, you'll see that there's all kinds of really cool stuff that you can do with sweeps. Sweepstakes.
You guys remember those Danimal sweepstakes?
Danimal?
Danimals. Okay, messed up.
I don't know. I don't think we had Danimals when I was a kid. We had Green Army Men, which I learned were made out of a plastic that was flammable. So my,
what does on fireworks?
I was a bit of a pyro.
You make your own fireworks?
No, we used to go to Mexico a lot and used a lot of fireworks that were already made. We used to have bottle rocket wars. My brother shot me in the temple with one time. So my hearing in my right ear is actually not very good. It actually left a big mark on my head for a long time. It went. But I took one of those green balls that has the flaming magnesium shavings and lit that and threw it at him, and it exploded and pelted him with flaming magnesium shavings. He got all these little burns. I'm surprised that I survived childhood. So.
You're giving me some good ideas, Mr. Four.
Oh, boy. Sorry, I forgot Lincoln was there. I should not have said that.
Can't take it back now.
It was quite the problem child.
Mr. Four, I have a question on
Sure.
on the 3D like fixture.
Sure.
I have all my parts here, so can I like print that? Is that like the best way to put like these three? Since this one's got like.
Yeah, I would make them a little bit closer, so if you can imagine the head is, going to have to move around a lot on there. And let's send it to the CR10 because that's a little bit more trustworthy. But yeah, get them a little bit closer because the more this has to move around, the longer it takes. So give it like about an inch in between each part.
Okay.
I don't know.
Actually, somebody first hour made a pretty good bolt. So they had a cylinder and they wrapped it around like, yeah, kind of like you're doing. Oh, that's a drill. Very cool.
Very cool.
Because it has a problem.
What's the problem?
Is it intersecting base?
Am I gonna need this?
Oh, okay.
He had us at
Let me just put it on. You want me more there?
Make sure
Just put it on the,
It's on the bottom.
Yeah, that's the blackest part.
Yeah.
Make sure there's like some sort of like support beam on there.
Yeah.
Like a little.
Spring.
Or literally any other that has a full name. I think it'd be easier to crack from the bottom. That has a much more like easier place to work around.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know which one I want to do.
I score right here. Literally, I can go. Why? Why so bad?
Oh.
If you hover over the red on the project tree, it'll usually give you a description of the error so you can.
Not regenerate properly.
Oh.
It's on my rotation.
Alright, one more try.
Let's go, guys.
What is that?
That is delightful.
Schmexy. Mr. 40 at ping pong paddles? Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah, they're in that drawer.
Once we finish, can you really play ping pong? Oh, that's hard.
A 2v2 ping pong tournament.
Maybe the last like 5 minutes of class.
I am amazing. You can ask Maria. I'm
You
amazing.
got your free choice?
We could have badminton. I'm trying to get straws, but so my whole plan is like spiral, right? Edit the experience. My issue is, well, I mean, edit the experience for this.
I'm stealing your idea, Peter.
And these lines.
That's because it's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. How would I do
You have to do different extrusion, or I guess you could do create one section, then pattern that face across in a linear way. But if you created just like one section, like, even though it's curved,
And
you
is there
take that
still
and
like
repeat it using a
sticking
pattern,
out at the
and
bottom?
then on the pattern you
Yeah.
check new,
I
so
think
make
so,
a new
but we
part
probably
each
could
time,
peel those off.
and then you would be able to change the color.
that? Sounds pretty complicated. I don't know if I should do that. I might just make the spring. Like a second
Because I
spring.
don't know, but if it was
Or maybe try a tapered spring, like use a cone or something.
in that thing. Yeah,
Perhaps.
so then you know, if there's, like filling parts or like,
Quizás.
are, like necessary.
I could try to
A little sweet.
go back to prepare, delete this and try to. I could just take off the bottom part as well. Long part. Okay.
Uh-oh. Yeah, why did they circle on this?
Oh, that's cool.
It's not.
Big red spring.
Raw.
How's it going, guys? Good. Think you guys bon? Think something to do? Maybe just do a Google search for CAD suite and look at images.
I did it. You didn't think.
Did you Can I get it and put it on your computer? Or just- I'm gonna need that SD card, that's for the freezer. I saw you. Oh, yeah, I finally got it working. I took out the material thing, it's not further or far along.
That's not.
So, the firmware is not very good and it's retracting and everything. It messes up all the time. It forgets where the position is as far as which like number it's on. So it's just too buggy right now. Maybe a little bit later, but it's not there. No, not yet. Not yet. I was hoping we could, but maybe if I take it home this summer and really tear it apart and spend another dozen hours working on it. But at least the person works now. Where'd Bernie go?
Somebody took them.
Somebody took Bernie.
Plumber.
I'm not surprised, everyone wants a piece of bread.
Alright, wants a little bit of that, Bernie.
Where's the Bernado? We'll have to print another Bernie.
Can we make it bigger? He just vanished.
Yeah, we're gonna make it bigger, Bernie. Yeah. Is that ready to be printed yet?
Bigger Bernie?
I think it's looking pretty ready.
All right, you want to switch it to the CR10?
Sponge boy me Bob.
Yeah, gotta reslice it.
Okay.
Remember, Mr. Force, sweep the leg.
Cobra Kai never dies.
Should I
That
change
show was
like
a little,
the
got a little
profiles
sensitive
and
in season 2.
Yeah, we're at like episode 8, season 2.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. I don't know. Maybe when I watch it, like my blood pressure goes up, and my kids and wife are just like, "We need more Cobra Kai. We want to watch Cobra Kai."
Mr. Four on this part right here, it was like round at the bottom, so is that support gonna work right there?
Yeah, yeah, that'll work.
And then I put the whole like the breathe part.
Yep, perfect.
Try to play.
Yep, put that in. Good. That's ready. Go ahead and close that. Safe to removable drive.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
Eject, and let's bring it back to the CR10. And then I'll give it 15 minutes so we can make sure the print's good.
Come on, springy boy.
Let's do this.
This is a bicycle shot right
Yeah,
here.
that's actually not a very bad print.
I know, it's been.
No, that's the control computer. So the MakerBot needs a computer, CR10. So first thing we have to do is just.
Is this how you steer?
No skips.
Okay, that's gonna take a while.
Yeah, that's the one that Mr. Orm's quest.
Why?
You want to turn this on?
Why can't you just function like a normal child?
Yeah, it works. Okay. What's up?
What?
Yes. Because you don't want to turn all those one piece, because then the support material kind of go like this and then it'll confuse. Yeah. Change your color. That goes, pull the little micro stick, that goes in here, brass side up.
Oh!
Is it?
Okay. This is beautiful. I love this. And push it in its own place. What?
Good, that's fun. Init SD card.
Ooh.
There. Go to first person. Whatever your name is it light switch?
Go up. Right?
Dial or turn around and see what all the. I don't think it's really good, but. The laser. Yeah, I think it's
That's like right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just getting bigger stuff.
that was probably one of the parts. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll figure it out.
Do you have Pure on there? So you're just gonna open all the files and kind of place them around. Open?
It's a submarine.
That's not how that works.
Oh, you're an inventor? You have to download the next inventor. Which, honestly, if you're doing that, I wouldn't download another inventor. I would download Fusion 360. It's a fraction the size of it. It's like 40 gigs.
Yeah, I have Fusion 360, but it was stopped. It stopped with the
I think just to share the OnShape app with you. OnShape.
Yeah.
Because OnShape is, it's always saying that you don't have to download. It's just kind of some different commands and things, but it's still the screw, available at different places. So if you just go to OnShape, education, just Google search OnShape education. And just,
Well, they really.
Now this is epic.
it's all and I'll just share the link.
These are just one for me.
The only issue with this is I need like a little tag here.
All right, for online people, at this time, if you're all good to go and you don't have any questions, you are free to close up. I'll see you Tuesday. Remember, no school Monday. Thank you, presidents.
Thank you, Mr. Four.
Welcome, guys. Have a great weekend.